Hello, today I'm going to talk to you about why making a move abroad might not be right for you. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Patricia Brooks. I am an American living in the south of France and have been since 2018. I help people who are ready to start the next chapters of their lives living and thriving in a foreign country, work through the challenges they face to make it happen on the level of mindset, whether they feel like they need more confidence and courage to make it happen, whether they feel like the transition might be challenging and they want some help in making sure that this move sticks. I am there to help. And on this channel, I talk about my life in France. I talk about moving abroad. I talk about how to find the confidence and that courage to live the kind of life you know you were meant to live. All right. And today I'm going to talk about 5 reasons why making a move abroad might not be right for you. Why making that move abroad might not stick. And I am going to frame this based on an article, a CNN article that was recently published. And Baguette Bound shared a video about this as well. I'm going to give my 2 cents on it as well. So the article was about Joanna and Ed, a couple who moved from the United States to France a year ago. And they are planning their return back to the United States because it has been a very frustrating ride for them. And they don't think that France is right for them. So what Joanna and Ed did is commendable, to find that courage to make the decision to uproot their life in the United States and start over in France and to actually do it, because there are a lot of people out there who think about it, who say they want to do it, but who never make it happen. And so it is commendable. There are 5 things that I think could have helped them to make their life in France a little more sustainable. And it really pained me to hear about this story and then read the article, because the work I do is all about helping people to settle in and acclimate more easily to a culture that is so different from the one that you are coming from. All right. So this video is really meant to help. It's not meant to point fingers or to judge. It's really just educational. All right. So I want to start off by sharing a story I have about when I was 18 years old and I went off to university 5 hours away from Willingboro, New Jersey, which is where I grew up. I went off to school in Massachusetts, and I was so homesick that first year. It was such an unpleasant experience. And in reading the letters that my mom sent to me recently, I recognized that I was just attached to my life back in Willingboro. I was attached to the friends I'd made there. I was attached to the routine I had going into high school, right? And that makes so much sense because it took me a long time to get comfortable with that kind of life, being shy, being introverted, really not so sure of myself, to get to a place that felt normal, that felt comfortable to me. And then all of a sudden to be a 5-hour car ride away from my mom and my friends and the things that were so familiar to me was challenging. So that's how I was at 18 years old. I was homesick when I left my home. But the surprising thing was when I moved to France, many, many more miles away than my university was, I did not have any of that. I didn't feel homesick at all. And I think that that has to do with the point that I want to make first. And that is, if you are too attached to the way things are where you're currently living, if you're too attached to your home or to your friends, that can pose a challenge when you make a move abroad. And I'm not saying to discard your friends. I'm not saying to discard the things that you enjoy. if you can detach from them in a way so that you don't need the familiarity of your life back at home, then you'll do so much better in adjusting to your new environment, because that was the case for me. So being too attached or not detaching enough can pose a challenge. And there are so many ways that you can do that. One way is to recognize that, oh, yeah, I really am attached to this routine that I have here in the United States that I don't know that I'll be able to continue because my life might be so different. What is that about, and what can I do to replace that, or even just be aware that that is something that might be challenging? Because I think awareness is the first step. All right. So being too attached. The second thing that I think causes people not to have their lives be sustainable when they move to a foreign country is unrealistic expectations. I hold these discovery calls, and from time to time, I will get somebody on a call who says, well, I'm not really sure if I should move abroad. I'm not sure if I'm romanticizing making this move abroad. And often when somebody is aware that they might be romanticizing it, then they have a better shot of having success in making the move abroad. It's when people who think they know a country by maybe what they see in the news or what they see in movies or what they see on YouTube channels or what they even read about it, that can cause them to have these expectations that are unrealistic. In the article, that CNN article, they spoke about having prepared and having read so many things, but not seeing this side of France that was so frustrating to them. And that side of France was the administration of having a different way of doing things that wasn't so straightforward. And so they weren't aware of that. And so in some of that, there could be some romanticizing that we'll just move abroad, we'll move to France, and things will be just like they are in the United States. And the benefit is that we are not going to be in a place where the political climate is not to our liking or where there are too many shootings, right? Which leads me to number 3. Number 3 is people struggle to make their new life in a new country work for them because they have not really explored why they want to live in this new country. They have reasons, but they haven't delved down into their deeper why. I often say, what are you running toward in this new country? It's not enough to say, I don't like where I am because there are these dissatisfiers for me. It's, well, what is it that you like about the country that you're going to? And what are you going to be able to have, do, experience, be, or become once you are living there? And until you drill down into your deeper why, why is it important for you to be in a place where the political climate is better? Why is it important for you to be in a place where the cost of living is better? And you keep drilling down why, then you can get to a deeper core value or core values that you find aren't being honored in the place that you're currently living. And you might recognize that maybe ease of living is a core value for you that moving to a foreign country might not allow you to experience, at least not for a couple of years until you've acclimated and you've started to make friends and things of that nature. And so if ease of living is something that is really important to you and not having a lot of things that create frustration, that could mean that maybe making a move to a foreign country isn't the thing that's going to be right for you. So not understanding what your true why is, not knowing what you are running toward. Okay. That is a big reason that people struggle to make a new life for themselves in a foreign country. Is any of this resonating with you? If so, give this video a thumbs up. Now, I offer one-on-one coaching, and I have a group coaching program for single women who are planning to make a move abroad. And in that group coaching program, there is a lesson that I talk about or that I teach that is called, Who Do You Need to Become to Be the Kind of Person Who Moves Abroad Confidently and Sustainably? And in that lesson, I talk about what the characteristics, traits, behaviors, thought patterns, habits are of people who have successfully moved abroad and acclimated and started a new life for themselves that is joyous. And some of the characteristics or traits can include being open to new experiences, to being curious, to being adaptable and flexible, to being more patient, right? And so if you struggle with any of these qualities or characteristics, and this is just a few of them, that's not, an exhaustive list, you might struggle with settling into a new country. And it would behoove you to start to work on yourself and building up these skills or these traits, or creating habits that will allow you to do that, so that once you make your move abroad, you are not faced with the challenges of culture shock that butt up against your way of being currently. All right. And I saw that in the article as well. There was a passage that talked about the foods here in France and the couple not, liking the food in France. And that's fine. They can have that as their viewpoint. But I, who am not a foodie, struggle with that, because I think that there is something for everybody here in France. They spoke about foods in general, the foods that you might associate with the French, like pâté and brie, and rich foods that you might not eat on a daily basis. But there are so many more French foods and dishes that people eat every day here in France. And depending on what region you're in, it can be a very different taste. So the idea that no French food speaks to them made me think that perhaps they weren't necessarily open or curious enough to explore those foods. Okay. So these qualities and traits are really important to work on before you make the move abroad, so that you'll find these things, some things less challenging. You'll be more open to finding things that you like and appreciating things that might be different from the way things were back where you used to live. All right. And then the fifth thing that I think is important to know, that if you don't have this, that making a move abroad might not be right for you, or right for you right now, because sometimes you can develop different characteristics that will be more suitable to the life change that living in a foreign country is planning for your life here in France. A lot of times people equate moving abroad and living abroad with knowing the logistical piece, getting help with the logistical piece, getting the visa, figuring out how it's going to be with taxes, finding a place to live. And that is a huge piece of the puzzle, because without that, you can't make the move abroad. But so often I see people who focus on that to the exclusion of mindset, which will help you to make your move abroad more easily. But then once you're there, it will allow you to embrace the culture. It will allow you to have fewer frustrations. It will allow you to be more resilient as you face those frustrations. It will allow you to be more patient, so that you can give your life in your new country longer than a year, because oftentimes it takes a couple of years to get to that place where you feel like, yeah, this is going to work for us. So in the article, Joanna speaks about how she is a social person. She's a very social person. And that one of the reasons that France didn't work out for her was because she felt so isolated, that she hadn't gone out. And there were a couple of things at play there. I think that when you make a move abroad, if you plan for the things that you are running toward, the kind of life that you want to have, if you've envisioned that and you know what you want, then you can say, okay, now how can I create that in this new place that I want to live? For me, I don't believe I'm as extroverted as Joanna is. And so I knew that I was going to have to really put myself out there, to force myself to find things to do and go even when it felt really hard. I also knew that the language was going to be a big key to that because, well, that was one of the reasons I moved to France, but also that was going to be a way that I was going to be able to connect and make friends. And so before you move abroad, if you think about the things that you want to experience in your new country, then you can start to create a plan for that. And you can even start working that plan even before you make a move abroad. Had I thought about this, I would have started to do things with Meetup with people I didn't know, so that meeting people and being in uncomfortable social situations would be more normal for me. And then when I would do it in France, once I got here, it would be less foreign. That would be one less thing that would feel so very hard. So there are things you can do in advance to help with this. Additionally, with missing family and friends, if you decide that, you know what, this is what we want, or this is what I want, and I still want to stay connected, if you create a plan to meet with your family and friends on Sundays at such and such a time, so that you can keep the lines of communication open and you can continue to feel connected, then that goes a really long way. All right. So those are 5 reasons why making a move abroad might not be sustainable for you. Now, knowing whether or not you are ready to make a move abroad, if your mindset is ready for a life abroad, I have a quiz that you can take. It's the Move Abroad Mindset Readiness Quiz, and you can find that on my website. And you can go to thecouragecatalyst.com and then click on the menu item that is quiz, and you can take that. And if you find yourself, scoring low on that, or if you know from this video right now that there are a couple of things that you could benefit from improving before you make your move abroad, I'd love to have a conversation to kind of understand what those things are, what things you might be lacking that you want to bolster ahead of your move so that you can move abroad confidently and sustainably. So what you can do is you can click the link to my calendar in the description and schedule a time to talk so that we can kind of see where you are in the process, what things might be holding you back, where you might be struggling, and if our working together could help you get there sooner and make your life there more joyful. All right. So go ahead and click on that link and schedule a time for us to talk there. All right. So what are your thoughts on this video? Are there other elements that I might have missed that might cause people to not sustain themselves in a foreign country? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with friends, subscribe, and I will see you again next time. Bye for now.